Welcome to Offroad X Files, where the trail meets the unknown. I'm your host, Jimmy Toungate. Tonight is episode 4, Who's There? Recently, while interviewing my guest Bill Gordon, he mentioned that there were nights when something would slap the side of his home. It was loud enough to wake him, startling enough that he'd grab his pistol and rush outside, but every time there was nothing there. And that got me thinking. Sometimes the most unnerving encounters don't happen way out in the forest. They happen in a structure where you think you're completely safe and instead feel your space has been violated. For decades, people have described a strange and terrifying phenomenon, the sound of something slapping the side of their house, a sharp blow, a heavy thud, sometimes so powerful the whole structure shakes. And when the witnesses rush outside to see what caused it or flip on the lights to catch a glimpse, there's nothing seen, such as a trespasser running away. Then the next day, upon closer inspection, sometimes they find large footprints, handprints, and dents in siding are discovered. Here are some reported examples of these occurrences from witnesses. In Watertown, Tennessee, a family endured repeated blows against their home, always on the same wall, the one facing a ravine, the one with no windows. BFRO investigators measured the height of those impacts and found they were 8 to 9 feet above the ground. In Little Switzerland, North Carolina, a cabin echoed with the sound of hands smacking across the roof and walls, moving from one side to the other, yet when the residents flung open the door, nothing moved in the trees or was found. In Lake Helen, Florida, a slap so violent the house itself shuddered. The woman who was inside ran to the porch, turned on the light, and found an empty yard. And up in Alberta, Canada, a hunter awoke at 3:30 in the morning to his travel trailer rocking violently. He grabbed a flashlight, opened the door, and found nothing in the clearing. In fact, many reports follow a strange sequence of events. They often begin with faint knocks in the forest, a single power strike, maybe 2 or 3 knocks spaced apart. There could be vocalizations such as whoops or howls. In some cases, if there's no reaction, the activity then escalates. Knocks, thuds, or rock throwing on doors or walls. Then the unmistakable slap that shakes the siding. That was the pattern in Leavenworth, Washington, where wood knocks in the distance were followed later that night by rocks pelting a bedroom wall. And in Pennsylvania, where a family heard knocks in the woods, then banging on the cabin walls, and finally 3 thunderous blows on the door, almost as if someone or something was daring them to respond. So what's going on? Why does this happen often enough to be a documented pattern in Sasquatch reports? And why, almost without exception, does no one ever catch the culprit in the act? Some possible explanations are, maybe it's due to natural causes, like falling tree limbs, heavy fruit striking a roof, even a pop of thermal expansion in wood siding on cold nights, loud, startling sounds, but not paranormal. Others point to animals, bears, raccoons, even deer bumping or rubbing against a structure. What about a bear scratching his back on a cabin wall? That could make a heck of a sound. There's always the chance of human mischief, but in many reports the remote setting makes that unlikely. And the height of the impacts, 8 or 9 feet up, that doesn't quite fit the prankster theory. My own belief is that most of these encounters are juvenile Sasquatch. Think of it like a teenager's prank, ringing a doorbell and running, throwing a pebble at a window just to see if the lights come on, dogs bark, people run outside. For a young Sasquatch, a slap on a wall is the same kind of game. It explains the timing, late evenings when families are winding down inside. It explains the repeated behavior showing up in reports from Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida, Alberta, and beyond. And it explains the vanishing act. By the time the door swings open, the culprit's already gone, melted back into the tree line. So while the sound itself may be terrifying, walls rattling, windows shaking, most of the time it's not aggression. It's a prank, a game, maybe even a dare among the younger ones. So when you hear a story about a house slap, don't think of a towering giant trying to break its way in. Consider the alternative, a mischievous youngster testing boundaries, laughing silently from the dark, just out of reach of the porch light. The oldest prank in the book, only this time the kid in question might stand 7 feet tall, is covered in hair, and can vanish without a sound. You've been listening to Offroad X Files. Tonight's episode was Who's There? A look at the strange phenomenon of mysterious knocks and slaps on walls and doors. If you've experienced something similar, I'd love to hear your story. Send me an email at jimmy@offroadxfiles.com. And don't forget to follow our social media pages to stay informed. I'm Jimmy Toungate. Thanks for listening, and remember, out there in the dark between the trees are the questions and the answers. Until next time, keep your ears sharp, your courage steady, because when the knocks turn to slaps against your wall, the only thing left to ask is, who's there?